So in the last video, we were going over the different ways that you could intend some object to be regarded as a work of art. We went over the first two kinds, specific art conscious and non-specific art conscious. In both of these cases, you're conscious of what art is. You're conscious of there being some kind of an art world. The difference between the two of them is just, well, in the first one, you have a really specific idea of the traditions of art that you're working in, and you intend that people regard your artwork in a really specific way that you're conscious of, that things have been regarded in the past, as with Serrani's Virgin and Child. And the second way, well, you're conscious of things being art, and you really want your work that you've created to be considered art and appreciated as, but you don't have any specific tradition that you're trying to replicate here. Maybe the best example of this kind of thing, because really, like, some of the examples I have here are Maria Abramovich in the middle, Anna Mendieta, the Tree of Life up on the right, and artist, I forget her first name, Piccinini over on the left here. They probably have pretty specific ideas about the history of art and how their artworks fit into it. The best example, the most pure example of non-specific art conscious might be something like, well, a middle school student who just, like, they know about art, they really want to make art, but maybe they don't know a whole lot about the history of art or different ways of thinking about art, so they don't have a really specific idea of what it is about the thing they're making that they want to count as art, but they still are conscious of what art is, and they intend that the thing that they create for the school art fair be regarded as art. Now, this leaves out a whole other category of artists. For example, think about, like, those folks doing the cave paintings 18,000 years ago in Lascaux. Probably they just didn't have the same idea or concept of art that you and I do. They're not sitting around their cave and thinking, like, oh yeah, man, I really want to, like, have this displayed in the gallery someday, have people think about me as a great artist. No, they're going through some other thought process. They're like, man, like, I really want to, like, create some bulls on the cave ceiling. I think that would look cool, or something like that. So they are not really conscious of a tradition of art thought of as art the way that you and I might think about it. So their creations are what Levinson calls art unconscious. They're not really conscious of this tradition of art. And yet they are still capable of making things that they intend to be regarded as art. Because all that matters for Levinson, when you intend something to be regarded as a work of art, is that you intend it to be regarded in some way that previous artworks have been regarded. So in this case, look, if I just intend for folks to appreciate how I have imitated the appearance of a bull on the cave wall, and that's the way other artworks have been appreciated in the past, well, gosh, I've succeeded in creating art, even if I don't have a particular idea of art as art. I still have this idea, oh yeah, well, look, I want you to appreciate how well I've imitated the shape of this bull, and if other artworks have been appreciated like that in the past, even if I don't know that other artworks have been appreciated like that in the past, well, I've still succeeded in creating art because, gosh darn it, I created these shapes on the cave. I have a proprietary right over those things, and I have intended, non-passingly, that people regard these things by paying attention to how well I have imitated the appearances of bulls out there on the savannah outside of my cave. And since it just so happens that other pieces of art have been regarded like that in the past, well, I have succeeded in creating an artwork. Now, the question you might still have left over is, well, gosh, at a certain point, if we keep going back in time here, we're going back 18,000 years, somehow you're going to have to say, well, how do you tell which were the original artwork?